Throughout this season of Shedding Starlight, we have already discussed many ways in which Kingdom Hearts 2 expands upon the world of Kingdom Hearts. We've covered Twilight Town, a world in between light and darkness where the bodies of people who've become heartless are reborn as nobodies. And we've discussed Corridors of Darkness, a network of dark pathways that reach almost anywhere you can think of in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
But Kingdom Hearts 2 also expands upon a web of connection between all the worlds in the galaxy, and this, in turn, can lead us to other aspects that are possibly related. In the original Kingdom Hearts game, Sora defeating Xehanort's Heartless and restoring the worlds also restores the walls that separated these worlds. Kingdom Hearts 2 further emphasizes how these worlds are again isolated.
Because of your previous endeavors, the worlds have returned to their original states. That means the pathways between them have disappeared.
However, Yen Sid adds on something very interesting. He says the worlds prepared new pathways for travel. This is the first time we hear of the idea that the worlds themselves have a will in some sense. When it comes to how the gates of these pathways are opened, Yen Sid is unfortunately ignorant.
However, the Keyblade will serve as your guide. When a beam of light radiates from the Keyblade, return to the gummy ship.
And it's not until Hollow Bastion that we understand what he's referring to. These gates are, for some reason, opened by using specific objects associated with individual worlds. Some examples are the rose that belongs to the beast, Captain Jack Sparrow's compass, or the blue marble from the struggle trophy.
Hollow Bastion strangely had two different instances of items opening gates. The first was with the Restoration Committee card, and the second time was with the sea salt ice cream Riku left in a box. No other worlds have a second gate opened during Sora's revisits, so perhaps this second gate was to lead Sora, Donald, and Goofy out of the dark realm they were trapped in at that moment. That said, Hollow Bastion might have another contender for an object that would open a gate, as Merlin described the Winnie the Pooh book as being one of the world's most cherished elements. Why objects are used for world exploration isn't really ever explained in Kingdom Hearts 2, but it is another showcase of the power that object sentimentality can have in Kingdom Hearts. But how is the object actually used to open gates? First, the object emits bright particles of light, and then, most of the time, it floats into the air. As Sora readies his Keyblade, a crown emblem blazes embedded into the floor, and around Sora appears clouds, as if he were in a different dimension. The object then shoots a beam of light into the sky, summoning a large keyhole, the gate. Sora then uses his Keyblade to activate that gate, unlocking a new path in which he can travel with the gummy ship. These are the same keyhole gates that the gummy ship flies through at the end of the rail shooting minigames.
We pointed out Yen Sid seems to imply that the worlds themselves provided these new pathways for interstellar travel. Likewise, when Xemnas disappears after worshipping Kingdom Hearts, a giant door appears before our heroes.
Kingdom Hearts! The worlds gave us this doorway. They want us to be the guardians of their destiny.
This door, while still having a design scheme that overall matches the castle that never was, it also has stained glass at the top that matches the door to darkness in Kingdom Hearts 1. The way that Mickey talks about this door, he could be implying two things. Like Yen Sid, Mickey might believe the worlds themselves have a will, that they intend to help Sora and the other heroes protect the Realm of Light. However, Mickey could also be implying that it was specifically Kingdom Hearts that summoned this door, since he mentioned it by name. Because this door has visual similarities to the Door to Darkness, the other door connected to another Kingdom Hearts, one might wonder if this door that appeared in the world that never was is likewise connected to Xemnas' Kingdom Hearts. However, our first episode this season, on Xehanort, We covered how the Kingdom Hearts in the first game is created out of the hearts of worlds, and the Kingdom Hearts Xemnas Amalgamated was made up of the hearts of people. So it would be strange if this new door summoned by the world was associated with Xemnas' Kingdom Hearts. But this door and the Door to Darkness are only 2 of 3 great doors to discuss.
There is also the Door to the Light. This door is vastly more mysterious. It's first mentioned quite a few times in Kingdom Hearts 1. First, it's referenced vaguely in the tutorial when Sora was in the Station of Awakening, much later when the game warns you that you're about to fight the final boss, and after when Sora, Donald, and Goofy are in the world of Green Fields.
But, where do we start looking for that there door to the light?
And then, in Kingdom Hearts 2, we have Yen Sid, who mentions it before Sora heads out on his next adventure.
Chosen wielder of the Keyblade, you are the key that will open the door to light.
And of course, there's the memorable scene of the door to light actually appearing. When Sora finishes reading Kairi's letter, the bright door opens before him and Riku. It is a door unlike any we've seen since, and any we'll see again. For the door itself is invisible. We only see the blinding light it opens up to, like a rip in the dimension. Later, when Sora asks Riku what he thinks the door to light was, Riku simply points to Sora's chest, implying it was his heart or power that opened it. However, beyond this, we don't really have an explanation for that scene.
The door to light, the door to darkness, and the door the worlds themselves provided. They all lead to different places, appear in different ways, and yet seem to have invisible ties, which is a lot like the various worlds in the Kingdom Hearts galaxy.
Kairi was right when she said there were many worlds, but they're connected by one sky, one destiny. And as Yen Sid says, the key that connects them all is Sora.
I know this is the episode everyone's been waiting for, the door-themed episode. You know this thumbnail for this episode is going to have a door on it.
Yeah.
We love it. We like
love
door-themed
doors.
Episode. We're talking about doors, our favorite designs, what kind of wood, and the grain. Mahogany, all fucking oak. Our favorite types, our favorite colors. That's what we're talking about today.
I love the doors in Kingdom Hearts because it really goes back to what makes Kingdom Hearts Kingdom Hearts. It's the giant key. It's the special doors.
Yeah.
It's how all our hearts have a little lock on them in our chests. You know, chests have containers and there are hearts inside. It all comes back. It's great.
Exactly. And each one looks different. They handcraft those doors to let us know which ones are fucking which. And I appreciate that. I love that.
Yes. So one thing I wanted to talk about in this episode that I think is so interesting because people don't really talk about it. And it's that the way Yen Sid and Mickey, who seem to be very wise and knowledgeable in this universe, is they talk about worlds as if they have intentions. And I just think that is so weird and interesting.
I agree. Though, to me, that kind of just inherently makes sense if the worlds have hearts. Yeah?
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. Oh my God. You're so right.
Because, yeah, I mean, like, that's obviously not the exact same makeup of a person that we've come to know and love in the universe, but they got hearts, which is interesting.
And you're so right about that because we learn that we kind of learn more about worlds in future games. and the fact that they have hearts and how that affects them. Gosh, you're so right. I didn't even think about that. You're so right. Once again, what's new? Okay. Another thing I wanted to bring up, there are a couple lines that I wanted to talk about in the presentation, but they're not voiced. And so I just feel like we might as well talk about it in the discussion, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
The first one is when, in Hollow Bastion, when they meet Uncle Scrooge in Hollow Bastion, Goofy is like, before the Heartless showed up, Uncle Scrooge was traveling the world on a gummy ship with the king. He was helping set up a transit system, which he said like traffic system, and then Donald was like transit system or whatever, which I just think is so interesting because was this like before Kingdom Hearts 1? Because during Kingdom Hearts 1, Mickey was in the fucking realm of darkness.
Yeah.
I just think that's so weird to mention.
Yeah, that's cool to think about. Also, like, hell yeah, Scrooge setting up public transportation in this fantasy world.
Who called him money hungry? Who called him that?
But that's also like, doesn't that go against the whole idea of world order that we talked about in the very first fucking episode of this podcast?
Yeah, like, it sure does. Like,
that's
maybe
so
they canceled it for a reason. I wonder if Yensid found out and was like, what the fuck are you doing, Mickey? You better knock that shit off. Oh, speaking of Yensid, I wondered, when I read this, I was like, is that what the ghost train is in Traverse Town? The one that goes to Yensid's world? Okay,
you mean Twilight Town? You said
Twilight
Traverse
Town? What'd I say?
I'm sorry.
What'd I say?
Town.
My bad. Twilight Town, yes. Which, okay, here's something about Yensid's tower that I didn't know for years. I didn't know this for years. And then I think it's in an Ultimania. I should have double checked. But apparently Yensid's tower teleports throughout the galaxy. Like, it's not tied to Traverse Town. Yeah, see? I didn't know that. And so that makes me wonder about this mysterious train that goes to his fucking tower. Mm-hmm. Like, does this train go across the galaxy? Or did he just install it at Traverse Town because Yensid wanted to, like, go get groceries? I don't know.
I hate to keep interrupting you, but you have now said Traverse Town a total of 3 times instead of Twilight Town.
Oh my god, what is wrong with me? There's something going on here. There's something deeper. I need to figure out what it is. That's crazy. My apologies. I've always meant Twilight Town.
When Sora and Donald and Goofy are on it, it shows them like kind of going through a starry sky. Yeah? During that cutscene?
Oh, I don't remember. I feel like, okay, this is going to sound crazy. When I used to make GIFs on Tumblr, I feel like I remember seeing the hills pass by, but I might be thinking of the scene when Roxas is on there with his... Oh, but they're not on that train. They're on a regular train. I can't remember.
I think it transitions. I can pull up the cutscenes. Yeah, I think it starts in Twilight Town. I almost said Traverse Town. And then they go through a little like portal or something.
How many times have I rewatched this game's cutscenes for this podcast and I can't even fucking remember?
So this looks normal right now.
Yeah, okay, that's what I remember. But I think you're right. It might be after I'm sad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
see?
You're right.
So, like, they go through a little portal or whatever.
Weird.
And now they're in, like, the green Aurora Borealis sky with the magical train tracks.
So weird.
What was our point? What were we talking about?
We couldn't tell if the tower, the train that went to the mysterious tower, if that was connected to Twilight Town or if that was something like Yensid brought with him everywhere.
My impression of it was always that, like, I think he just put it there knowing that Sora was gonna need it eventually, and it was like a temporary thing. But that's just kind of my informed child baby opinion. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I wish I did. It's just so weird. It's something that I wish Yensid himself fucking talked about. Like, welcome to my abode. Here's how it works.
Yeah.
Did you like my train?
Yeah. My purple and green train that goes through the stars.
Okay, so while Sora's at Yensid's tower, and Yensid is kind of giving them, like, the lowdown of how... Because Yensid tells Sora about the gates first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where he's like, use your Keyblade, it'll open a lane. And then Yensid says, the Heartless and the Nobodies will be using corridors of darkness. They may be attempting to link these dark pathways to the gates between worlds. And I didn't really understand why he said that, because I don't know if we ever see that in the game. Like, I was like, is that supposed to be why there are gummy Heartless and Nobodies whenever we're in the gummy ship? Is that, like, how they find their way? Is by linking corridors of darkness to the pathways between worlds?
Yeah. Are there gummy Heartless and Nobodies in the first Kingdom Hearts game, or is it just, like, dodging obstacles?
There are Heartless gummies in the first game. Yeah.
Okay. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like, can I explain that, lore? No. I don't know why they're ships. I literally don't know.
Just floating around out there. Just having a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's like your explanation is what my brain would say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's why there would be those guys there.
The only other thing I could think of was, you know how the organization uses corridors of darkness and they just walk around in the dark and then open portals places? My thought, like, I feel like if that was me, if I got granted that power, I would open a corridor and have no idea where it was going to take me. Like, I might as well walk out and find out where the fuck I am. And so my other process was maybe using these pathways as, like, a map for the corridors of darkness to find out where they're going to exit when they leave. But I don't know. It's just such a weird line that Yensid says that has no context for it of what he's actually meaning.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so pop quiz.
Okay, wait, before you start. I have to describe what I'm looking at right now. Mel has blacked out portions of this next section that I am not allowed to look at yet. So I'm excited for what's to come here.
So the items, first of all, it really does look like an FBI redacted list.
Yeah, like an SCP, like redacted fucking entry.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about some of the items that the worlds use to open lanes, because some of them are pretty reasonable, and then some of them are fucking weird, okay?
Yeah.
So, like, Land of Dragons is Shan Yu's sword.
Yes.
You know, pretty... I guess it's kind of upfront. But one thing that I think is really, like, normal is the Olympus Coliseum one, where it's the Olympus stone.
Right.
Like, that one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Agrabah's is the forbidden treasure, which I don't even remember how they get that. How did they get the forbidden treasure? I wish I watched Agrabah's cutscenes all the way through, because I don't remember.
What do you mean? Like, it's in the Cave of Wonders. That's like what they're looking for, or what they find when they're looking for the lamp with Aladdin, right?
Yes,
like,
that big, giant red jewel.
Yeah.
When I was skipping through the Kingdom Hearts 2 cutscenes to look at all the items, Donald just has that in his hand. And I'm thinking to myself, how did you get that?
I think Abu steals it, and then Donald's like, don't do that, and then takes it for himself. I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
For all those who were mad at me for not remembering, I'm sorry. I love using the forward and backward arrows on YouTube to skip to important parts of the story.
J and L are my favorite keys on my keyboard.
So real. Okay. I think you said you did.
Yes.
Do you remember what Halloween Towns is?
Halloween Towns is Jack's Santa suit that Sally made him, right?
Yes. And it opens the lane while he's wearing it.
Yeah.
And you see him looking at his clothes like, what the fuck is happening? Which fucking kills me because, so in the Halloween Town revisit, there are presents. And I think like a big giant robot that the doctor was trying to make kept stealing all the presents. Mm-hmm. And so for some reason, I thought the presents were the items. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I fucking lost it when I went back to rewatch cutscenes and it was fucking Jack's stupid Santa outfit.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it fucking killed me. Okay.
Yeah. So the next one is Atlantica. I wanted to say it was the Trident, but you blocking this out makes me think that's not right.
See, I also would have thought it was the Trident because that makes sense, right? You know what doesn't make sense? Is for it to be a bubble.
No way. Is that
just
real?
A bubble. One forms in the water and then it just opens a gate, a bubble.
Oh my God. That's
not
so stupid.
even like a shell or
right. Or like the necklace that fucking Ursula has of Ariel's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's a bubble. Like, okay, whatever.
It's so funny. The next one is the Pride Lands, and I have been racking my fucking brain because I'm like, what? They can't hold anything. They're lions. What is this? What is it?
You know what, Hannah? You're on the right track because there is no item.
Okay.
Whenever they would show the item, they just skip to the next shot. And so they were probably like, fuck, like, what? Let's just skip this one. Like, fuck it. They won't notice. But we did. There's no item.
Wait, literally nothing? That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how they got away with that. And, like, maybe they'll make that canon, but, like, I doubt it. I'm sure that the developers were like, oh, fuck.
That's so crazy. It could have been, like, Rafiki's staff or something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I said.
That's so funny. I can't believe that. That's so hilarious.
Especially because, like, they couldn't have made up an item. Like, they made up, well, I guess they didn't technically make up the Olympus Stone. I guess that's Hercules. Whatever. But, like, still, a bubble. You did a bubble. You couldn't have done a tree or, like, a leaf or something.
For
like,
some reason, when I was trying to figure out in my head what it was, I'm like, I had this vision in my head. I'm like, is it, like, Donald or Goofy in their, like, separate animal form? Like, is it Goofy's shell? For some reason, that image popped up in my head. Because I genuinely couldn't think of what it was. And, like, obviously, because there isn't one. That's crazy.
Okay, back to serious mode. The Twilight Town revisit. So, Twilight Town's first visit, there's no item because Sora just goes to the mysterious tower on the weird train, right? But on the revisit, it's important to clarify that the blue marble that opens the gate of Traverse Town is not the data version that Roxas actually had. It's the real version, just to clarify.
That's interesting because, man, not to go back to last episode, but, like, the data marble is the one that has, like, spiritual significance in this story because that's the one that Roxas had. So the fact that it's the real one is interesting.
Yeah, to me, that like, goes to show that there is a tie, some sort of spiritual tie between the data version and the real one.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they picked the real one is because Goofy, I believe, this is the order of events, is Goofy was holding the crystal version out of the bag. He pulled it out of the little money bag, and Olette saw it. And so then they leave Twilight Town, and it's when they come back that Hayner, Pence, and Arlette are like, okay, here's the theory. There's an alternate Twilight Town. Because I think Arlette seeing that bag, and then they left, Arlette's like, okay, Hayner, Pence, you guys gotta hear something. I saw Goofy with my bag, and I literally have my bag. Yeah. Like, there's something weird going on here. So, that's my theory. That's what I think happened.
Yeah. But. And that makes me kind of transition to my next point, is that I was really like, and I think we got at least one email question that's pretty similar to this thought that I had. And I feel just a tad hypocritical, like kind of bringing this up, because I feel like I have kind of shunned people for thinking this way before, but like it makes me ponder the logistics of the Disney worlds like a lot. Like I know I'm thinking way too meta about this whole thing because it's a game. They're telling a story. They got to do what works, you know, in the mechanics of both of those things. But like, what makes the world decide which items are important? And the way that I kind of connected that to Twilight Town just now is because I was asking the question, is Sora drawn to each of these stories because the world determined because the world determined that these people are important, or are they important because Sora came to them? So like Sora interacting with the real marble instead of the data marble kind of strengthens that, like, oh, Sora interacted with it, therefore it is important. But yeah, that was just something I was thinking about a lot.
Yeah, it's weird. Especially because, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of sets the tone with Yensid being like, the key that will connect everything is you, Sora.
Yeah.
You will open the door to light. Really makes it seem like Sora is special in some way. So items that he interacts with, I feel like it would make sense that they would kind of open the gates and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's had this chosen one narrative for 3 games now, so like it kind of makes sense.
You're right. What am I doing? Thinking it started with Kingdom Hearts 2. Another explanation, so this whole thing about items and worlds kind of collects dust for like many Kingdom Hearts games. Like, I think if we started this podcast like 4 years ago, I probably would never have even mentioned this. Like, because it's so fucking weird. What does it matter? But a newish sort of Kingdom Hearts game came out. My perception of time is so fucked up. I don't even know when this game came out, but I won't even mention what game it is. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But they bring up the idea of certain objects being essential to a world's order. And the example that they use for the most part is Genie's lamp for Agrabah. And because, like, the Cave of Wonders is, like, a really big legend in Agrabah. And then the genie can help decide, okay, who's Sultan? Who has power? You want a river on this side of the world? I can give you a river. I'm the fucking genie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, of course, a genie would dictate a world's order. And so, part of me wonders, like, you know, another example that I thought of was the Struggle Trophy. Struggle's really big in Twilight Town. People fucking love Struggle. You know, you'll hear NPCs yell, Struggle! You know, it's great.
Yeah.
And so, part of me wonders if, like, the marble somehow was involved with the world's order. And, like, a lot of it doesn't make sense, you know? Like, Jack's Santa outfit. Like, I guess maybe Santa is important to the world of Halloween.
Jack is the king of his town. Like...
Oh, you're so right. Maybe it's Jack himself and not even the outfit.
But also, like, to go back to the Struggle Trophy, like, the Struggle Tournament is literally, like, a show who has, like, the best physical and, like, tactical strength. So that would make sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I don't know.
I don't know about the bubble though. Like,
I know my thought process was like, maybe the bubble is just because the world is underwater.
Yeah.
Atlantica has to be underwater. But even then, Kingdom Hearts 2 shows Eric's town, wherever the fuck he lives. I don't remember. But that place isn't underwater. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Wait, but this is also interesting because you said you were talking about the genie's lamp, but that's not the item. That is the...
Yeah, you're right.
It's the jewel.
See, that's why I think at one point Yensid in Hollow Bastion is talking about the Winnie the Pooh book, and he's like, this is one of the world's most cherished items. Which makes me like wonder if multiple items can be really important to a world. And like, let me preface this if you're kind of new and maybe you played Kingdom Hearts 2 for the first time and know later games, is we are truly like speculating. Like, we're not like trying to hint at a true answer. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're actually like wondering aloud. So
bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us. Anyway.
So I think our next topic is still kind of on the topic of items, but we're going to talk about the door to light Riku, Kairi, Sora scene. And just looking back at that scene, I was wondering, like, if Kairi's letter in a bottle that somehow, ends up in Riku and Sora's hands in the Realm of Darkness, if that was kind of acting in the same way as those other items, because it's opening a door, but maybe it's different. Like, it doesn't have the usual, like, crown symbol, cloud, song and dance, because it's in the Realm of Darkness, but also, again, I bring up this importance because of its interaction with Sora. The door didn't open when Riku read it. The door opened when Sora read it.
That is really interesting. Yeah. I'm really glad you brought that up, because I also noticed how the door opened when Sora read like one sky, one destiny, all the worlds are connected, whatever. But the idea of him interacting with the letter itself, I think is really interesting. And it reminds me of how we talked about in this presentation, how in Hollow Bastion, a second gate opened in Hollow Bastion, possibly because Sora, Donald, and Goofy were trapped in the Realm of Darkness. And the ice cream led them out, possibly. That's not fact, that's not confirmed. But like, it's the best reasoning I could come up with that would make that scene make sense. So interesting. Very interesting, Hannah.
Thank you. I think we did get an email from someone. I apologize if this is you. You know who you are. Mentioned that idea of like, the letter getting in Sora's hands and then the door opening because of his connection with Kairi. So I don't want to claim that idea as like completely my own, but I just wanted to be clear.
Okay, so speaking of this scene, so we on our season on Kingdom Hearts 1, the season finale, kind of semi-finale, we talked about the Kingdom Hearts 1 secret ending and a bunch of the weird phrases that popped up during it. And one of the things that popped up that I think is really weird and maybe a little ominous is it says, one of the texts that pops up is, behind the darkness does not equal door to the light. And so the all of these texts that show up in Kingdom Hearts 1 all relate to Kingdom Hearts 2 specifically. That I found, or that I could realize, maybe I missed something, but I feel like I checked to see if any of them related to Chain of Memories possibly, but I don't think so. I think they all relate specifically to Kingdom Hearts 2. And so, and that secret ending also has lines saying, we'll go together. So at this time, it kind of seems that the devs knew that they wanted to have this scene of the Realm of Darkness and the door to light opening. And so this is totally like, okay, so first of all, it might just be saying that the door to darkness, that opens to the realm of darkness, and that Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, or Xehanort's Heartless, was always like, what's behind it?
Yeah.
Lead me to everlasting darkness. Da 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 da. So maybe it's just saying that the door to darkness and the door to light are different.
Yeah.
You know, these are two different doors. Maybe that's all it's saying. But I also can't help but wonder. This is tinfoil hat theory. Tinfoil hat. Everybody put on your tinfoil. We're going signs.
I'm doing it.
That this door is not the door to light like Sora and Riku assumed.
Yeah.
Which I think would be very, very eerie.
Yeah.
Especially because, going on to my next point, for all the times that Kingdom Hearts said, Sora, you will open the door to light, he like ended up doing it on accident without even really realizing it. Like, to me, it seems like it would be something he would do on purpose. Like, nobody else can do this. I'm the only one with this ability. I gotta save the world. I'm gonna open the door to light.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's what every other story would kind of aim for. So it's just interesting to me that Kingdom Hearts is like, we'll have him do it subconsciously, not even realizing it.
Yeah.
Which I just think is interesting. And I personally, you know, this is not confirmed. You know, this is just me being insane. But I will never let go of the idea that there is more to this scene than we know.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. I feel like there's context or an overarching viewpoint that we're missing. But I can't guarantee that. That's just me. You know, that's my theory.
Yeah.
Like, that's my game theory, you know?
Yeah,
but
it is so eerie, especially like the fact that if that is correct, like, oh, this door is not what you think it is. It's being hinted at in the game previous, talking about the ending of 2 games in the future. It's very Gravity Falls, not to keep bringing that show up, but like,
yeah,
like, don't trust what you think you know or whatever.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's very cool. I like your theory, and I will be thinking about it. And so, just to kind of end off this discussion on a less conspiracy theory note,
Yeah.
this script had me rewatch that scene, and I just really, really, really enjoy the parallel they create with Sora and Riku in the Realm of Darkness, because the last time we saw these two standing in an ocean together, which didn't happen in real life, only in Sora's dream, if I'm remembering correctly right now.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so.
You know, Riku was reaching out to Sora with a huge wave behind him about to engulf both of them, and Sora doesn't reach him. Very emblematic of, you know, Riku's getting engulfed by darkness. And now they're wading through the waves together. We'll go together towards the light, and then they go home together, and it's very like circular and like complete, and I love that. I love that for the both of them.
Which is so, I didn't even realize that Yensid in the Mysterious Tower completely references this scene, because he's like, whether you go home to your Destiny Islands, whether the Destiny Islands will be there, whether you go home alone or with your friend, will all be decided by you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, like he literally just said like the last scene of the game. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you're so right. I think one thing I really, really like about Nomura's work, the head kind of creator of Kingdom Hearts, is that he seems to be very visually oriented. And as a visually oriented person, I just love that. Like, he has these images in his head. He has his own OC AMVs in his head. And bitch, me too. Like, it's great. It's
Absolutely.
great.
So, now we're going to dive into emails. We have questions from Kimberly and Dani. So, Kimberly's first question. Something kind of I was talking about earlier with my thoughts. Kimberly says, how much more of the worlds are implied to exist on the planetoids we travel to? Several of the worlds seem to expand from their Kingdom Hearts 1 versions, but how far does that go? Even with the fantasy worlds, do they have an implication of more than we can see? Traverse Town could be just the town, but there's the whole planets to explore in Hollow Bastion, Radiant Garden, and Twilight Town.
This is, okay, so first of all, I guess I should clarify. I did kind of reorder Kim's questions, but by doing that, Kim, if I misunderstood your questions because I kind of reordered them, then I do apologize if misinterpreting. But I think this is what Kim is asking for her first set of inquiries. But I think it would be very fun to see other areas of Kingdom Hearts worlds.
Yeah.
And there's kind of one world that we see another side of in Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's not really confirmed to be a part of a world we know. I think it's just fan speculation. But I think it's, it's kind of hard to say because, with Kingdom Hearts 1 implying that all these worlds were like once together, we don't really know how big they are, how big all these shatterings are, or even if they're the same size. Maybe some are fucking tiny compared to others.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I assume there's always a little more. Like the desert in Agrabah seems to be fucking vast, Yeah. So who knows if there's like a little oasis or a little village outside of Agrabah? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's fun to think about.
Mm-hmm. It is fun to think about. And that kind of draws us into the next question of like the real world Earth locations that exist in this fucking video game. How much of the real world Earth that is implied by the original movies gets carried over into the equivalent Kingdom Hearts world? In Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 alone, we have separate worlds that imply the existence of Africa, the UK, the Caribbean, and Greece.
Okay, so this one I thought it would be important to address because recently a real world location was announced to be into a Kingdom Hearts world. But I think it's important to clarify that the world that Kyrie's grandma talked about in Kingdom Hearts 1 was not planet Earth in the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah.
I think Kimberly might already know this and understand this, but just to clarify for other people, I think it's important that, yes, real world places are referenced, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Kingdom Hearts is the real world because then what about the Realm of Light? What about Realm of Darkness? What about, I think it's just Kingdom Hearts devs having fun and just bringing, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the Kingdom Hearts logic. That's the problem with Kingdom Hearts is that there's no other way. Sometimes there's no other way to describe it other than it is Kingdom Hearts logic.
Yeah. But Mel, my YouTube theory that Kingdom Hearts takes place in a post-apocalyptic world 10,000 years after we all die out and then a new species of human. I don't fucking know.
That's how some of these theories read, dude. Sometimes my eyes blur. I read the first sentence and my eyes go cross-eyed and I say, okay, I have to skip this. Not with emails, but with things I read on people's YouTube or something. I don't know. Okay, so Kim's third question. Kim, thank you for sending all these great questions. We always love your questions.
Amazing.
Okay, she asks, does Santa deliver all across the Kingdom Hearts universe? Or is there an Earth tied to Christmas Town that he goes to? Are Ariel and Hercules distant cousins because Triton is Poseidon's son and Zeus's nephew? Hannah, you would know all about this. You read those books and I did not. The one books. What are they called?
Percy Jackson books.
Percy Jackson
You're
books.
airing out my shit, Mel.
Does the underworld take souls across the universe or just the ones from Mount Olympus? Okay, so Hannah, before you jump in with whatever you gotta say, let me say that for years and years, I always thought that the underworld only takes souls from Olympus because I assumed that was the world order, the world order of death.
Yeah.
And then a Kingdom Hearts game came out that showed that I was wrong, that the underworld does take souls from across the Kingdom Hearts galaxy, and that really gagged me. Isn't that crazy? To me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, some people might be like, well, what about, fuck, I don't remember his name. Who's the old grumpy guy that we meet in Kingdom Hearts 2? He's in our party in Underworld. I want to say Aaron, but
Orin.
Orin?
Yeah.
He's hot. He's so hot, but what a weird name. Anyway, because some people were like, well, he's there, and he's not from Olympus, so of course.
Right.
But then the thing about Olympus in Kingdom Hearts is that there's always Final Fantasy characters in Olympus. They're always fucking there. And so to me, like, if someone died there, like, of course it would be in the Olympus underworld. But my point is that that's not true. Is Hades runs, he's kind of aware of everybody's death, and I didn't know that, and that really fucking surprised me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So my point is, maybe Santa does go to Twilight Town to deliver gifts. Isn't that weird to think about?
My mind is going in so many different directions right now, because, like, does that mean people in Twilight Town practice Christianity? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we looking at?
Well, we do know there's one fucking Disney character in Kingdom Hearts who practices Christianity, so...
Oh my god, we'll get there! We'll get there! I know what you are.
I know what you are. Yeah, I do think... I don't know if Kingdom Hearts is willing to go so far as to say Ariel and Hercules are cousins.
Yeah.
But I do think that, to an extent, some world orders branch out to other worlds.
Yeah.
Which is something, like I said, I didn't think so for years and years.
Load-bearing worlds doing their part.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Kimberly's final question. Is the Kingdom of Hearts of people's hearts made of both light and darkness? Whereas the Kingdom Hearts we see in Kingdom Hearts 1 is a big shining light, the Kingdom Hearts 2 heart moon thing is made from hearts of people who already succumbed to darkness and became heartless. Does that mean that this Kingdom Hearts is partially darkness because of the hearts that make up it? Or are the hearts purified in some way by the Keyblade? How does the Keyblade send these hearts to the Kingdom Hearts moon anyway? How did Xemnas hijack the process like that? I think that was a question that I asked when we were talking about the organization, maybe. Like, how did they do that? How do they redirect the hearts over there? How do they do that?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I do think that the idea that Xemnas' moon that he made out of hearts released by Emblem Heartless is a very interesting idea, especially because one thing, I don't know if I clarified well enough, and I do apologize if I did not clarify this well enough, because it's so easy to say, oh, so-and-so became a Heartless. It's just so easy to say that.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to write it like that. But like, technically, in the semantics, you don't become a Heartless, you create a Heartless. Even an Emblem Heartless and even a Pureblood Heartless. You create them, you don't become them. And so, or they're like born from you, they're born from your heart. And so if that's the case, I wonder if when an Emblem Heartless, which is the physical manifestation of your darkness, is pulled out from your heart, I wonder if that process in and of itself purifies the heart.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but based on the Kingdom Hearts logic, I wonder if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. I also, once again, I don't know how these hearts instinctively went to the moon. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know.
Got a big
Maybe
old
it's like
magnet.
instinct.
A cartoonishly large magnet. Heart magnet. So, our very last question is from Dani. When explaining what this next episode was going to be about, you talked about Sora using the key beam when an item was floating, and that opened a piece of sky that allowed him to go to the next world. My question is, what are the other people present seeing? Like, is Mulan also seeing all of that? Or does Sora kind of go into a trance and it's all inside his head? Or does he disappear? What do they see?
This is such an interesting question. I told Hannah, I said, this reminds me of when TV shows kind of, or cartoons kind of joke about magical girl transformations.
Yeah.
Like the people on the outside seeing this girl just like dance around with a bunch of twinkles as her outfit starts to change or something. I think it's a very funny scenario. And, let me actually look on YouTube on because I think there is a scene in Hollow Bastion. The first time Sora does this, he does it in front of Leon. And I feel like Leon says something. So let me look.
So while Mel looks up a cutscene, I do want to say it's really cool being a friend of Mel because whenever we write episodes sometimes, Mel will sometimes go into theory mode and write up a little theory for me to read. And that happened on this episode. And something about something that happens in a future game kind of really makes me think that this does happen in the real world space.
Where other people can see it.
Because I'll just say, like, similar imagery pops up later with not just Sora.
Okay, so in this Hollow Bastion cutscene that I'm watching, the first time Sora opens a gate, the crown symbol appears, and then all the clouds appear around him, and then Sora shoots the keyhole gate.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, hold on. It's disappearing. What does he say? I know Sora says, now I get it, but I need to see. Squall is just absolutely fucking dumb plucked behind him. Oh my god! It's actually so funny watching Squall behind him. He doesn't know what the fuck happened.
So it's actually happening, like, in front of him? So he's, like, watching it happen?
I think so.
Okay.
It sure looks like that to me. And then Sora's like, this is what Yen Sid meant. Leon, we gotta go. And then Leon is like, okay, be careful. But
all right,
the first shot of Leon in the background, he's like standing there and his arms are kind of apart, like he's surprised or bewildered. So in my opinion, he saw that shit. In my opinion, he saw the clouds and he saw the gate.
Oh, yeah. He does look fucking flabbergasted. Everyone looks flabbergasted.
Imagine I do this shit in front of you.
This happened to me once. Sorry, I'm still watching. Okay, yeah, then he gets transformed.
I know, it goes on for a long time, doesn't it?
I've always just fucking loved this cool ass scene and the particle effects and like how it looks and the sounds. I love this fucking game. It's good.
Listen, the day that Kingdom Hearts stops using particles is the day Kingdom Hearts dies. Okay, well, this was a fun episode. I love talking about this kind of shit.
Yeah, I was so excited to talk about all this stuff because it's so interesting. We love the world building episodes, the load bearing episodes of this fucking podcast. All right, well.
So thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you liked this episode, be sure to give us a high rating on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether that's Apple Podcasts. Does that have the 5-star rating?
Yes, it does.
Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Uh-huh.
Give us a heart ? On Spotify.
Yeah,
like us on Spotify.
I'll
say
that. Spotify, yeah.
Follow
subscribe,
on Spotify.
It is.
Can I listener, between you and me, can I tell you a secret? I listen to my music on YouTube and Pandora, so I am like 10 years behind on technologies. Okay. And then be sure to like us on YouTube if you like to see our little cartoon visual faces talking with each other.
Yeah.
And give us a comment. And you can, if you enjoyed these questions and you have questions of your own, you can send them to us at sheddingstarlight@gmail.com. Now listen, Okay, so one thing me and Hannah really love to do and what we would prefer to do is to read your questions aloud on the podcast and not just give like a summary, But the only way we can read your comments or your emails aloud is if they're kind of concise and you really know what you're going to ask and you really nail it down within a few sentences. So we'll have to ask that if you're going to send us an email. We love reading long emails. We just can't really talk about them on the podcast, So if you send us an email, try to think of how can I make this shorter and more concise and more
succinct,
effectively shorter.
Efficient,
yeah.
Because
I have my thesaurus open.
We do get a lot of emails per episode, and most of those emails have multiple questions in them. So we got to be cost effective and time effective here.
Yeah.
So
and it's okay to send us multiple questions.
Yeah.
But just try to keep them, I love it when people, you can tell they're typing, their real-time thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
It's fun.
But it's not something we can read aloud on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope that's understandable. That being said, of course, we are so thankful for every email that we get.
Of course.
We love them all.
We do read every single one. We don't reply to them, but we do read them.
Yeah. So anyway.
What's our next episode going to be about, Mel?
Okay, so the next episode is going to be about Pete and Maleficent, first off. And, where the fuck has Pete been all this time? Pete knows Maleficent? What is he doing here?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Maleficent's return. And then we're also going to talk about the Timeless River. That kind of ties into what Maleficent and Pete do for a good portion of the game. And, what is the deal with the Timeless River? Because my secret is that I hate the Timeless River because it makes no sense and it defies all logic, and that drives me crazy.
It's series breaking, but they
really
don't refer to it after this game. So, LOL.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. Pete, Maleficent, and the Timeless River. So, baby, if you got questions on them, you send them our way, and we're going to get to them.
And remember, cost-effective, time-effective, succinct, efficiency.
Because we want to read you on the podcast. We want to.
We want to.
So. Anyway. Oh my God. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. We love you all. And we'll see you in the starlight.